Hello and welcome to Planet 40k. Today we're going to be reviewing and discussing the datasheet for Watch Captain Artemis from the Deathwatch Supplement. So before I get started, I just wanted to let you know that we've opened up our YouTube members area, which you can find below by clicking the join button. The two tiers mirror our Patreon service that we also have. So if you prefer a more in-house method of supporting the channel, then we've got you covered. You'll have access to early access videos, emojis, and of course the loyalty badges, where every month if you're a member, you'll get a better loyalty badge within the channel. Okay, on to the Watch Captain then. Comes in at 7 power level or 110 points. He's a named infantry character within your HQ options within the supplement. There appears to be a slight error with the Games Workshop app at the moment while creating this video, as the app is showing that he's got power level 6 and 105 points for the model. I'd always rely on the hardbook codex and website FAQs over the app, as there still seems to be a few snags with the data not matching. Anyway, it's going to be one of those costs, so it's not much difference there. His stats are as follows: movement 6 inch, weapon skill 2+, ballistic skill 2+, strength 4, toughness 4, wounds 5, attacks 4, leadership 9 and a 3+ save. So pretty average stats for a captain there, nothing really overly jumps out at me. It's nice that he hits on 2s. So moving into his abilities, so firstly he comes stock with the Iron Halo, which gives him a 4+ invuln save. He's also got the typical marine abilities of Angels of Death, which grants a heap of abilities, and Thou Shalt Know No Fear, Shock Assault, Bolt of Discipline, and then the combat doctrines, which in the Deathwatch supplement get turned into mission tactics. And like the Watchmaster, he comes with Rites of Battle, which is a 6 inch aura to reroll 1s to hit for Deathwatch core units. Finally, he has the Unstoppable Champion, which just grants a 6+ Feel No Pain save. If you're not familiar with that type of terminology, a Feel No Pain save is where if you failed your save, before allocating the wounds to your model, you can roll for each wound, and in this case, any 6s will ignore that wound. Some call it an after save, some call it a Feel No Pain save. Okay, weaponry then. He comes with quite a bit of kit here. Firstly, the standard frag and crack grenades. Let's get them out of the way, as you're not here to see those really. He's got the Hellfire Extremis, which is effectively 2 weapons in one. You select which weapon you're going to be using for the phase, and if you wish to use both, then it's going to be a -1 to hit. So the first part of the weapon is a bolt gun, 24 inch range, rapid fire 1, strength 4. It does come with special issue ammunition, or some call it SIA upgrades. So I'll quickly run through the SIA upgrades then. So each time a unit is selected to shoot, and if it contains anyone that has the ability with special issue ammunition, you must select one of the following options. So you've got Dragonfire Bolts, which is where the target does not receive benefits of cover against the attack. Hellfire Rounds, which is where each time you make an attack with the Hellfire Rounds, it'll be a +1 to wound unless it's a vehicle or Titanic unit. Kraken Bolts, each time you make an attack with this weapon, you can add 6 inch to the range and 1 to the armor penetration. And then finally, Vengeance Rounds, each time an attack is made with this weapon, you add 1 to the damage. So nice and easy there, you just pick one of those. So the second weapon within the weapon is a Hellfire Flamer. It's 12 inch range, assault D6, strength 2 and single damage. Each time an attack is made with this weapon, the attack auto hits, and unless the target is a vehicle or Titanic unit, you wound on a roll of a 2. So that strength 2 really doesn't mean anything unless you're rolling against a vehicle or a Titanic, because it's going to be 2s. So auto hits, wounded on 2s, pretty nice, especially against light infantry. So when it comes down to his melee weapon, he's got a mastercrafted power sword, so it's strength +1, which makes it strength 5, -3 AP and 2 damage. This weapon is pretty good, although it's only strength 5. It's a good anti-infantry weapon, especially good against other marine enemies because they've got 2 wounds apiece. So this guy has 4 attacks base that hit on 2s, and on an average you should be getting about 3 or 4 hits there. Wounding toughness 3 and 4 models on 3s, giving you an average of 2 wounds, and wounding toughness 5 on 4s, which will averagely score you 1 or 2 wounds. Then wounding higher toughnesses from 6 to 9, you're going to require 5s, so only expect 1 wound there on average. So obviously you can give him more attacks with other synergy within the supplement alongside Shock Assault, but I've just done this based on his base stats. Finally, he's got a nice little gem of a weapon called the Stasis Grenade. It's a range 6 grenade 1 to use this instead of any of your other range weapons. And this one can only be used once per battle, so each time you make an attack with this weapon, if a hit is scored and you're going to be hitting on 2s, the target suffers D6 mortal wounds, and then the attack sequence ends. So you basically roll a 2 up and then you're doing D6 mortal wounds with anyone within 6, so it's pretty brutal, I'd say. If you do roll a 1 when you're hitting, then I'd definitely recommend using a command reroll. And if you haven't used it on the hit roll, then you can also save it for the damage roll if you roll poorly there. So So throwing this at anything is virtually going to do some good, whether it's an elite unit, whether it's a 5-man screen or even a vehicle, it's going to be very useful. Moving into the stratagems then, I'm going to skip over all the Xenos only stratagems as they only apply when you're playing a Xenos race. They're quite situational. Brotherhood of Veterans for 2 CP switches out your Xenos Hunters rule for a chapter tactic or successor's tactic from the Space Marine Codex. This only applies for the 1 turn. There are loads of options in the Space Marine Codex for all the Marine chapters, although to be honest I'd probably use this stratagem for a larger unit rather than a single HQ model. Teleportarium for 1 CP grants the captain deep strike, nice and simple there. Might be useful to keep him within the range of other core units for some vital rerolls. So from the supplement alone there isn't much for your captain in terms of stratagems, but he could be your warlord, so let's go through his warlord trait. So vigilance incarnate, so in the command phase you can select a friendly Deathwatch core unit within 6 inches of your warlord, and each time you do so select a battlefield role, and until the start of your next command phase, each time a model in that unit makes an attack against an enemy unit with that battlefield role, you get to reroll wound rolls of 1. Pretty nice there. So as for relics then, you've got the Beacon Angelus, which is not so much a buff for the captain, but you can teleport an infantry or biker unit to within 6 inches of himself, and as long as they're more than 9 inches away from enemy units. So this could strengthen a flank, or give you a bit more ball control, or just protect your HQ really. The Thief of Secrets is a straight swap out for your Mastercrafted Power Sword. So it's a strength +1, which is the same as the Mastercrafted Power Sword, but the AP goes from -3 to -4 AP. The damage actually gets reduced to single damage instead of 2. However, the Thief of Secrets comes with an additional rule of you cannot take any invuln saves against it. And also if you're fighting against any Xenos race, then it stays at 2 damage rather than 1 damage. So the removal of the invuln save and 4 AP virtually leaves only feel no pain rolls, and possibly a 6+ armor save if you started at a 2+. So I quite like this one. The Tome of Ectoclades is where you select an enemy datasheet from the army, and all core units within 6 get to reroll wounds against that datasheet. So really useful as you're already giving core units rerolls of 1s to hit. Now you're doing it with the wounds. You're rerolling a lot of dice here. Adamantine Mantle, which gives you a 5+ feel no pain. Now he's already got a 6+ feel no pain, but this will improve it slightly. You've also got the Blackweave Shroud, which gives you +1 to your toughness, and it also shrugs off mortal wounds on a 4+. So making him a little bit more resilient there. Digital Weapons gives you an extra attack, and if you score a hit with that extra attack, the target suffers a mortal wound, but then that dice is removed, so you don't have to roll to wound after, it just ends. But it's a nice little quick mortal wound there because you're hitting on 2s. If you wanted to slightly improve his armor save, you can give him Artificer Armor, which will make him a 2+ save. You've got Bane Bolts of Erexia, which turn your bolter weapon into a single shot weapon that is strength 6 -2 AP and damage 3. So worth thinking about as you're quite likely to be rolling 2s to hit and 3s to wound, then dishing out 3 damage. So overall it's very similar to the Watchmaster in some respects. He's slightly cheaper and has less buffs, but he's more offensive with the weapon loadout, especially that stasis grenade with the D6 mortal wounds. He does have 1 less wound and 1 less armor save, however. Both units are decent utility options and can buff your army and hold their own in a fight. I wouldn't want him tangling against an elite unit though, as they will pick him off even if it takes a few turns due to his invuln save. I see him more as a support HQ, not quite the front line but not quite the back line either, somewhere in between. Maybe putting him on a centre objective might be a good shout, as he's giving the buffs to the maximum amount of board space possible while being quite a tough unit to shift off an objective, especially with his Hellfire Flamer getting rid of enemy frontline objective stealers and deep strike screen units. I'm going to be giving the Watch Captain Artemis a Planet 40k rating of 4 out of 5. Now with both the Watchmaster and this captain, you could easily say it's a 3.5 or even a 3, but I'm judging them on their all-round uses and value for points. Neither are going to go tearing down the board and deleting units from your opponent's forces, but they are steadily buffing your army and scoring lots of points on top. Let me know how you feel about the Watch Captain. Do you just ignore him and use the Watchmaster? Or do you just ignore both and use other HQs in the supplement? Or maybe you just ignore the supplement and use Marine Codex HQs. For now I'm only looking at the supplement itself as a standalone book. I'm sure there are plenty of better options and things to use in the main Space Marine Codex. So if you have enjoyed the video or you're listening to this while painting and whatnot, please remember to drop us a like below and subscribe to not miss out on any future content. We currently drop a video every 2 days at about 5 PM, give or take 30 minutes. Remember to check out our Patreon too if that's something you're into. The support massively helps the channel grow. I would like to take this full time, but we aren't quite there yet, so any support is hugely appreciated. Anyway, thanks for watching and I will see you in the next one.